my name's Craig from Magic TV. It's 9 o'clock, it's a Thursday, it's time for a Magic Stuff. And today I am back with another one of the 3 best trick series. And today I'm going to be talking one of my favourite plots in card magic, which is Triumph. I'm going to be highlighting to you 3 Triumph routines that you have probably never seen before. Now, I absolutely love Triumph. It's one of my favourite plots of all time. If you don't know what Triumph is, it was made famous by Dai Vernon, who created a shuffle that allowed this whole plot to take place. And then I think Daryl came along with a really convincing display, and then people applied the Zarrow shuffle to it and the push through shuffle to it, and then other people came and got involved, and lots of different versions were done over the years. But the whole idea is that you have someone pick a card, you take the packs of you take the cards, you shuffle them face up into face down. Half the cards are shuffled face up, half the cards are shuffled face down. When you snap your fingers, you spread out, and all of the cards have turn the right way except for one card, and that is the selected card. It's a very simple plot. However, even though it's simple, it is very effective. Now, when I was researching for this, I have decided that there's going to be a couple of videos. There's going to be a follow-up video to this one, maybe even 2 follow-up videos, because there are so many amazing Triumphs. And when I sat down and had a look through all of this, I kind of realized, my gosh, there are so many really good Triumphs out there. There really are so many really good Triumphs. I was thinking some honourable mentions that won't make it into this particular video. Darwin Ortiz, Think of a Card Triumph, is absolutely brilliant, where you have someone think of a card, you do Triumph, and it works with a thought of card. Play It Straight Triumph by John Bannon. I've talked about that on the channel before, where all of the cards have one suit turnover except for the selected card. That is an amazing Triumph. Color Stunner by, well, there's versions by Paul Harris, there's versions by Derek Dingle. I've talked about some of them on the channel before, where a deck of cards is shuffled face up into face down. You find the selected card, and then to throw salt into the wounds, you got a color changing deck kicker. I mean, there's so many different versions of Triumph. It is ridiculous. I'm going to highlight 3 routines that I particularly like. I'm actually going to be talking about one of my routines as well. And then we're going to, I'm going to break it down, tell you where you can get everything from, and hopefully I'll inspire you guys to learn another Triumph. But before I start, let me know down below in the comments which Triumph you use. Do you do a Triumph? Which one do you use? I would love to know. I know a lot of people are going to say Jay Sankey's Back in Time Triumph, because that's been around for a very long time, and it always gets a great reaction. I totally agree. It's not going to be on this particular video, but hopefully I'll be incorporating a few of these into a future video. But let's have a look at Triumph routine number 1. So the first Triumph routine that you've probably never seen before is my Triumph routine. This is called Rocky's Triumph. Now, the reason it's called Rocky's Triumph is because I put it on a DVD called Slim. And Slim was produced and released by World Magic Shop, and they had me do it in a gym. So they had me do this Slim DVD in a gym. That was the kind of the marketing angle with this. And I was actually performing magic in a sauna. I was performing magic standing around in a gym. It was so weird. So weird. But all of the names of the tricks got changed on the day of filming to do with like exercise and working out and stuff. And this became Rocky's Triumph, because Rocky, you know, Rocky, yeah, the film. Anyway, what is Rocky's Triumph? Well, Rocky's Triumph is my handling of Triumph. Where and there's a few things that are going on here, so I'll perform it for you in a minute, but let me quickly just explain what's going on. The reason I put this Triumph together is, first of all, I wanted a really convincing shuffling sequence. I think that Triumph lives and dies by how convincingly the cards have been shuffled face up into face down. And you know, you see a lot of Triumphs where it's a slip-slop shuffle, which I think looks okay. I mean, I talked about Sankey's Back in Time Triumph, which is great, and that uses a slip-slop shuffle. But I wanted a really more convincing display of when those cards are shuffled face up into face down. So that was the first thing. The second thing is I wanted to do it with no table. So I did not want a table, because I was doing a lot of mix and mingle at the time. I didn't want to be able to have to put the cards down on the table. So it had to be done with a, without a table. I also wanted it to use a regular deck of cards, so no gimmicks at all, not even any gimmick cards. I could literally just take a deck and do it anytime, anywhere. And then the other thing is, I wanted an extra ending at the end, because I've always thought that some of the best triumphs are the ones where something else happens at the end. I talked about this earlier on, like a color changing deck. So you've done the triumph and then you go, well, that doesn't explain how all the cards have changed color. And the reason I like that is because when you start shuffling the cards face up into face down, and you say you're going to sort them out so they're all going to go the right way, when you spread through and you show that they're all the right way, except for one, they kind of know where you're going with this. At that point, they realize that's going to be their card. So it's not that it's anticlimactic, but there's no surprise when you turn it over and it is their card. So I wanted an extra phase at the end of it. So that was the reason behind creating this triumph. Now, the actual end sequence, which is a 4-of-a-kind production, and you'll see this in a second, is based on a routine that went out via Big Blind Media by Ian Moran on Covert Magic. And he did it in a very different way, but the concept of culling the cards during the course of displaying all the cards the right way is 100% Ian Moran, and he is absolutely brilliant. Ian is one of the best magicians that there is. Let me perform Rockish Triumph for you first of all, so you can have a look at it and you can see what it's like, and then we'll talk about why it's so good. I have Sarah behind the camera. Hey Sarah, how you doing?
Good, thanks.
And this is a shuffled deck of cards in use. Do you want to shuffle the cards, or are you okay?
No, it's okay.
Can you do me a favour, Sarah? I want you to pick a card. As I spread through the cards, can you do me a favour? Can you grab one out? I actually want you to physically take one so that people know that I'm not cheating. It really is a free choice of playing card. Can you grab one out for me? Would that be okay?
Yeah.
That's great. Have a look at the card. Show the camera. Don't show me. And then when you've done that, do me a favour. Just say stop anytime you want.
Stop.
Can you put the card back there for me? And would you say that card's about 20 or 30 cards down?
Yeah.
Now, my job as a magician is to find your card. That's my job. And what most magicians will do is they will shuffle the cards. They then might cut the cards, depending on the magician, and then they'll try and find the card. I am going to go one step further. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give the deck a very, very special shuffle. I'm going to do this. I'm going to take half the cards face up. I'm going to take half the cards face down, and I'm going to shuffle the cards face up into face down. There's a technical term for this. It's called a mess. But if you have a look at these right here, Sarah, you can see that there's some cards face down, there's some cards face up, and you can see that the cards are being shuffled face up into face down. Is that fair?
Yeah.
And so as I cut through the cards, you can see that there's cards face to back, you can see that there's cards back to face, and as I continue to cut, they continue to get more and more mixed up. Now, if I asked you to sort these cards out so they're all facing the right way, how long do you reckon it'd take you?
A while.
I'm going to sort them out in 1 second and find your card. Watch this. If I just snap, it's done. You see, I want you to have a look at these cards. I'll angle them so the camera can see them, because now all the cards are face up. But I want you to tell me if you see your card. You see, if I've done this right, you won't see your card. And the reason you won't see your card is very simple, because there is one card and one card only face down in this pack. All of these cards are face up. Have you seen your card, Sarah? All of the cards are face up, one card face down. I would then put this in your hand if you were here. Yeah. And I would ask you in a big loud voice to name your card. What was your card?
The 5 of Hearts.
The 5 of Hearts, which is the only card that was turned over in the pack. Is that pretty good?
Yeah.
It's pretty good, right? But here's the thing. You shuffled the card. You then could have took any card that you wanted to. You took a 5 of Hearts. It stands to reason there's another 3 5s in this deck, right?
Yeah.
Well, if I take the deck and cut the deck with one hand, and then I shuffle the deck with one hand, and then with one hand I'm able to find the other 3 5s, would that be a good trick?
Yeah.
Yeah, but with this hand over here. So there you go. So that is Rockish Triumph. I have performed this for so many years. I remember lecturing on this 7 or 8 years ago. I'm sure I lectured this routine at the Magic Circle. I'm positive I did. It's a fantastic routine. It really is. So first of all, it is a shuffled deck in use. It's anytime, anywhere. The only thing you need to consider is if you're using a worker's deck where there's cards being ripped and signed and that sort of thing, you want to make sure that it's got a 4 of a kind there. You want to make sure it's a full deck, because what you don't want to do is produce a 3 of a kind because there's not a 4th card in the deck. So make sure it's a full deck. That's kind of really important. But yeah, it's a shuffled deck in use anytime, anywhere, and there is no force of the card. Because the first idea I had with the 4 of a kind production was to force the card, and I thought that'll make it really easy, but there's no force. no force, no setup, no force at all. So they can pick any card, which is why I spread the cards so they can see the faces. So they think back and remember that they had a free choice of any card. The other advantage to this, as I said, the shuffling sequence is very, very convincing. It really is. And also, there's no table at any point. So at no point do I need to put anything down. The closest I come to putting something down is when the card has turned face down in a face-up deck, and I put that face-down card on the spectator's hand. Another advantage is the four-of-a-kind kicker. So you've got the card that's been produced, and then you do this one-handed shuffle. You don't have to do the one-handed shuffle. You need to do something to give yourself some time direction. So you could do a one-handed cut, or you could just riffle down the deck with your thumb, but you want to do something at that moment. I spent years learning a one-handed shuffle, so I put the one-handed shuffle in there because I spent years learning it. I'm damn well going to do it somewhere. But it's also a display of skill. This, for me, is an opener a lot of the time. So it's a display of skill to show, hey, look what I can do. Look, I'm not just like your Uncle Joe with a pack of cards. So you've got this one-handed shuffle, which then gives you that misdirection moment where you go, not this hand over here, but with this hand, and you just make the four-of-a-kind appear. They freak out at that point. They just don't see that coming. So it's almost like a three-phase routine. The first phase is all the cards sort themselves out. The second phase is the card turns face down in the middle. And the third phase is you've got this four-of-a-kind production, which is great because it allows you from a routining point of view to then routine into another routine. So I've now made these 4 cards appear. Well, let's do something like a collector's routine or something else, because now I can do that because I've got this four-of-a-kind production. So there you go. There's no downside to it. There's no angles, really. It's not even that hard to do. It's quite an easy routine to do. There is a faro shuffle, but you don't need to do a perfect faro by any stretch of the imagination. The other thing that's quite nice is it allows you to practice the cull in a very non-pressury way. And what I mean by that is during the course of this routine, as I'm showing the cards have all turned the right way, I'm culling the 3 selected cards. I'm culling the mates of the 3 cards to the back of the deck, right? Now, I don't need to do that final phase, that four-of-a-kind production. So if I screw up the cull and I miss a card or I something goes wrong with the cull, it doesn't matter, because I've already got the finale, which is the card turning over in the deck. And also, there's no better time to do a cull because nobody's looking for the cull. They're looking for their card because they see the cards have all turned the right way and they're like, oh my gosh. And you say to them, I want you to tell me if you see your card. So all they're doing is focusing on looking for their card. They're not focusing on anything else. So you could literally cull an elephant at that point. You could cull an elephant? You could cull an elephant at that point because nobody is looking for anything. So it makes the cull incredibly easy. But even if you screw it up and it doesn't work, it doesn't matter because you've already got the effect of the card turning over in the pack, which is what they think is going to happen anyway. So it's an amazing way to practice the cull. It really, really is. If you've been wanting to incorporate a cull into your Magic and you've been struggling with actually practicing that in the real world, this is a great non-pressury way to practice the cull. So yeah, it's a really good routine. It is an absolute workhorse for me. Where can you get it? Well, I published it on Slim by World Magic Shop, which is still available from all good Magic dealers. And I believe, I think I am right, that I then did it again on my At the Table lecture for Murphys a few years ago. So I put it on the At the Table lecture for Murphys. I also put it on Slim. You can learn it off either one of those projects, but it's a really good triumph that you can do anytime, anywhere. Okay, so triumph number 2 is by Mark Elsdon, and it is a gimmick deck. It is called Chaos 2. Now, Chaos 2 is a sequel to Chaos 1. Mark originally came up with Chaos 1 and then came out with Chaos 2. This was released by Alakazam Magic many years ago. And it's one of those routines that's so old it's new. I did it on a Magic Live a little while ago and everybody was saying to me, oh my gosh, where is that? Where can you get that? Where can you get that? Well, you can get it from Alakazam. It's still available from Alakazam. I've talked on this channel many times about having a hook that grabs people's attention. And maybe that's one of the reasons I like Triumph, because there is an inbuilt hook there. But this routine especially, you talk about this deck of cards being a chaos machine and how You can use a particular, you know, you show the Joker and you say this Joker, it may look like a Joker, it's not a Joker. It can make order out of chaos, which is an interesting premise and just a ridiculous premise at the same time. And then you proceed to show it. The Triumph itself looks so fair because Mark's using a gimmick deck. The Triumph is so fair, and how he came up with this, I don't know. But it looks so deceptive. When you shuffle those cards face up into face down and you show the display, they can see that every single card is mixed face up into face down. They can see that. It's so good. Before I go any further, let me show you a full performance of this. I'm gonna show you a full performance of Chaos 2, and then when I've shown you this performance, we'll talk about why it's so good. I have Sarah behind the camera. How you doing, Sarah? You okay?
Yep.
Good stuff. You're going to help me with this. I have a pack of playing cards. Now, can you just tell me, can the camera see that they're all there and they're all different? Is that okay? Can you
They look different to me.
Okay, they're good. It's just a regular pack of 52 cards. Now, I'm going to take out the Joker, and you'll see why in a minute, but the Joker in this pack is the most important card in the whole world, because this may look like just a normal playing card, but this costs a lot of money. This is actually full of electronics. This is full of technology that allows me to do what you're about to see right now. You're going to grab a couple of cards. Now, I could dribble the cards face down like that. I could dribble the cards onto the table, but it doesn't matter whether I see the cards. So I'm going to do it face up. Sarah, as I go through, just say stop anytime you want.
Stop.
Cool. So we'll take the Queen of Spades. You happy with that one, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. And we're going to grab another one, just say stop.
Stop.
There. The Six of Hearts. You happy with that one?
Yeah.
Excellent. So we've got the, what was it again? The Queen and the Six. I'm going to put those two cards right there. Now, the only other thing that we're going to do is I'm going to take about half the cards. That's about half, right? I'm going to turn half the cards face up and put the other half face down. So this is what we call boxing the deck. If you actually look through, you can see we start with face down card, face up cards, then we go face down. Can you see that there? Mm-hmm. Face up, face down. Anyway, the reason why this card is so important is this is called a chaos and order card. And what it allows you to do, it allows you to create chaos or order within a pack of cards. That's why there's two buttons on there. Can you see those buttons nice and clearly on the camera? The top one says chaos, the bottom one says order. Now, it sounds ridiculous, but even though the deck is boxed like this, what I can do is I can put this chaos and order card right here on top of the deck. And all I have to do is press chaos. Now, you'll see that it starts working right now. You can see that. That's not me moving my hands. The cards are actually... Stop laughing, it's true. The cards are actually... No, you say, my hands are moving because the cards are moving them. You got to trust me. But look, I have now created chaos. Look, 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 look. Remember the cards were boxed. Look, now every card is alternating all the way through, right through the deck. Every single card, all the way through. Isn't that crazy? Like I told you, I have created chaos. Now, you might say, as you know me really well, that I'm an expert at creating chaos at the best of times, but I have created chaos. Now we're going to go one step further. I'm going to put your two cards into the deck in different places. I'm going to put one face up and one face down. Sarah, you picked a Queen of Spades and a Six of Hearts. Which one would you like me to put face up? The Six or the Queen?
The Queen.
The Queen. So we'll put the Queen face up around about there, and we'll put the Six face down about there. And I want you to see, have a look at this. They are really going there, face up into face down to two different parts of the deck. And let me just put the Joker over there for a minute, just in case. Look, some people say that I'm not really. Can you see that all the cards are face up and face down? Is that fair?
Yeah.
It's not like I'm cheating or anything.
Nothing's ever fair with you, but yeah.
I'm trying to.
I get what you're saying.
So you're probably wondering, with all of these cards like this, how am I going to create order? Well, I'm going to create order with the same card. This card can create order or chaos. You see underneath the chaos button, can you see that there? There's an order button, and that order button will allow me to create order. Now, if you were here, you could press it, but I'm going to press it for you. Now, check this out. Look, it starts working. There it is. Look, it's working. I'm not moving my hands again, Sarah. I'm really not. Shut up. I'm not. The order is being created. And if I just move that just for a second, you'll see now. Check it out. Look, all of the cards are now fake. Well, actually, not all of them. And the reason is, if I go through, you can see that all of the cards are now the right way, all the way through, except for two cards that are still face down in different parts of the deck. And this one over here would be your Six of Hearts. This one over here would be the Queen of Spades. And that is how you create chaos and order. So there you go, that's Chaos 2. Do you see what I mean about how great a routine it is? I love that moment where I'm shaking my hand and the cards are all apparently mixing up or sorting themselves out. That's a really funny bit. It brings the house down. When Mark does this, he puts the cards back in the case and he presses the button on the card case. There's a few different ways he talks about doing it on the download, but it's an incredibly strong routine. Now the downside, the negative, let's get the negative out of the way straight away, is it is a gimmick deck of cards. But because you're using a gimmick deck of cards, the positive is the displays you get with this routine are just phenomenal. Like the displays that you get when you're showing the cards are being mixed face up and face down, you can't get displays like that anywhere else. You really can't. And but what's nice about it as well is you've got that moment where they see all the cards are all the right way, and you press chaos, and now they're suddenly mixed up. It's almost like a reverse triumph, right? Which is crazy. You're getting two people involved in the selection procedure. They genuinely are picking a card. They're genuinely putting it back. The cards look so mixed up, and then boom, you just spread them out and they're all the right way. I mean, how strong is that when you actually think about it? How strong is that? That is incredibly strong. The deck resets itself instantly. So as soon as you've done the trick, you're ready to do it again. You notice when I performed it, I used a table. It's suggested that you use a table in the routine, but it isn't actually necessary. I came up with a way of doing this that didn't require a table, but really you want to kind of use a table if at all possible. You really do. So there's the negatives. No table, you kind of need a table, and also it's a gimmick deck of cards. But honestly, this absolutely kills. People just don't want to examine the deck. They really don't. It just writes itself out, and you say, except for two cards, and you put the deck away and you go, what was your card? What was your card? Boom. And the two selected cards are the only ones turned over. It's really strong. So that's it. If you're wanting to do a triumph that has some crazy visuals and you don't mind sacrificing the cleanliness of using a regular deck in order to bring in that gimmick deck, then this is a great one to go for. Also, it's completely self-working. Most triumphs require skill, of some description or another, because you're apparently shuffling the cards face up into face down. So it does require an element of skill. This is not the case. This is completely self-working. The deck does all the work for you. So I checked, it is still available from Alakazam Magic, so you can get it from alakazam.co.uk or alakazamusa.com. It's available from either of those places. It's like a 20-minute, half an hour download. That's all it needs. It explains the whole routine for you. So it's a great trick. And it's definitely worthy of 3 triumphs that you've probably never seen before. Now, let's look at the final routine. Okay, so the final triumph that you've probably never seen before is out of Andy Gladwin's new book, A Boy That Cried Magic. Now, if you have not seen A Boy That Cried Magic, or you have not read A Boy That Cried Magic, you absolutely 100% do need to, because it is an incredible book. It is an absolutely incredible book, full of working material, 24 routines, all well thought out, all very, very hard hitting. Andy is a very clever guy. And this routine is in there, and it is a version of, and I mentioned this right at the very beginning of the video, it's a version of John Bannon's Play It Straight Triumph. Now, if you don't know what John Bannon's Play It Straight Triumph is, I used to do this as a follow-on to the original Vernon Triumph. And the idea is that someone picks a card, you then cut the deck into 4 piles, the cards get shuffled face up into face down, very, very cleanly, because you've got the 4 piles that are being shuffled together. And then once you've done that, you snap, and what happens is all of the cards, you can show that all the cards are mixed up, and then what happens is you kind of go, oh no, it's not worked, and you notice that they never put their card back in the deck. So you then say, well, I can fix this, and you spread the deck out, and now all of the cards of that suit have turned face up in order, which tells you what the name of their card is. That's John Bannon's Play It Straight Triumph. Now, what Andy has done is he has improved that. I didn't think it'd be possible to improve that routine, but Andy has improved it in a few different ways. First of all, in terms of the routining, I actually prefer how this is routined. So the original Bannon routine was done kind of like a magician in trouble like scenario. So the deck's not, it's not worked. Oh, hang on, didn't you put your card back in the deck? And that can make spectators feel a little bit awkward sometimes. So what Andy does in his routine is he has them take a card and put it to one side, and he says, well, he shuffles the cards face up into face down, and he says, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and riffle up the deck, and it's going to tell me what your card is, which is a very interesting premise. Try that. Even if you don't do this routine, just try that premise. Just force a card on somebody, have them put it to one side and say, look, I'm going to riffle up the deck a couple of times, and it's going to tell me what your card is. And you kind of go, right, okay, I didn't see any diamonds. It was a diamond, or whatever it is you say. Laymen freak over that. They absolutely freak over that. It's a very intelligent way of presenting a simple card revelation. So that's the first thing that Andy did. He incorporated a very different presentation into it. There's some other stuff that he's done as well, which I want to go through with you. But first of all, let's have a look at a live performance of this so you can see exactly how it plays. So I'm going to perform this now, let you see what it looks like, and then we'll carry on talking about the routine.
Nice. So we've got a pack of playing cards. Is that fair? They're all there. They're all there. Well, I should show you that they're all there. They're all there. They're all different. Is that fair?
Yeah.
So I'm going to give the cards a few cuts, just to make sure that they're mixed up. And I'm also going to give the cards a shuffle, but I'm going to give them a very, very special shuffle. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of the cards face up, some of the cards face down, and I'm going to shuffle the cards face up into face down. Okay? Technical term for that is called a mess. I want you to see that now. I'll even, mix them up a little bit more. So we're in a situation now where they are all completely mixed up. In fact, if I spread them so you can see them, is that fair? Is that all mixed up? Yeah. So here's the question. I want you to tell me right now. If I asked you, Sarah, to go through these cards like this and one at a time sort them out so they're all facing the right way, how long do you reckon that would take you? I mean, it'd take a while, right? But how long do you reckon it'd take?
I don't know, a minute or something.
About a minute. Okay. Now, we're also going to take a face down card. So as I go through, just say stop and tell me when to.
Stop.
That one there, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you happy with that one?
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, so here's the idea. I'm going to give you a quick look at that. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Can you see it okay?
Yeah.
Good.
Fine.
So here's the thing. Somewhere in here, I'm going to work out what your card is using the deck, okay? I'm going to riffle up the deck like this, and I'm going to try and work out by riffling up through the deck what card is missing. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, it's definitely a red card. I only counted 25 red cards. It was definitely a red card, right?
Yes.
You picked a red card. Hang on, let me hear. Yeah, it was a heart. It was definitely a heart. I only counted like 12 hearts. Is that right?
Was, yeah.
Let me just hang on. I think I've got it. Was it the 5 of hearts? No? It is a... no, it wasn't the 5. It's the 6 of hearts, isn't it?
Yes.
It's the 6 of hearts. Yeah, I was close. It was the 6 of hearts, which is pretty impressive. But you could have picked any card.
Yeah.
You picked the 6 of hearts. That was a free choice, right? Mm-hmm. If I told you I could sort all these cards out so they're all facing the right way without even touching the cards, would that be good?
Yeah.
That'd be impressive, right? But it'd be even more impressive if I just snapped my fingers like this and I sort them all out, except for the hearts. That's the ace, 2, 3, 4. Well, you see, there's the problem. There's no 5. I don't see a 5 either. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, Jack. Obviously, this pack does not have a 5 of hearts in it because the 5 didn't turn over. That's why I was confused. That was why I was confused right there.
So there you go. That's the routine. It's really great, isn't it? So do you see what I mean about the presentation? So with the presentation, he's not putting a card to one side and acting like he didn't know they hadn't put the card back in the deck. He's openly saying, well, there's one card missing from this deck now. Let me riffle up a couple of times, and that should tell me what your card is. Laymen absolutely find that fascinating. Now, the other thing that he's done is that you're no longer using a table. It's done without a table. I know I spread the cards out on the table because I was sitting at a table, but you don't need to. This can be done in the hands, which is great. And it's a far more deceptive shuffling procedure. Now, the negative here is it's a little bit more difficult. It's a little bit more difficult than well, it's a lot more difficult than Play It Straight, because Play It Straight is almost self-working. This is a lot more difficult. But it's more deceptive, in my opinion. It really is more deceptive. There is a cull in there, and you do have to cull like 7 or 8 cards. What I did, and if you go back and look at the presentation, you'll see that I actually start openly turning cards over as I say, how long do you reckon it'd take you to go through all these cards and sort them out so they're facing the right way? That eliminates half the cards that I needed to cull, so that then I only have to cull a few cards. I know that's cheating, but it made it a lot easier for me, and I'm more than happy to take that shortcut if it makes it a little bit easier. Yeah, I mean, you saw the presentation of it. It's a really great routine. If you've never tried this kind of play it straight style Triumph before, have a look at it. Try it out on an audience, because when you spread through the deck and all of the cards of that suit excuse me, have turned over in order except for the card that they've taken, I mean, that's just impossible, right? I mean, they know that a deck of cards is shuffled and that it's impossible to find all of the cards of one suit. And you've not only found all the cards of one suit, but you've gone even further than that. Does that make sense? It's crazy. It really is. So it's a really great routine. It is going to require a little bit of effort and a little bit of time and effort. It's probably the most difficult routine of the 3 that I've showcased here today. But that moment at the end more than makes up for it. And if you want to try that routine without putting all the time and effort in, have a look at Play It Straight Triumph. But I do think that Andy's routine is, both from a routining and also a technical point of view, a step forward, a creative, evolutionary step forward. So it's well worth looking at. You can learn it from his new book, A Boy That Cried Magic, which is available from all good magic dealers, but it's specifically was produced by Vanishing Ink. So there you go. That's another 3 best tricks that you might never have seen before in the bag. I am going to be doing a follow-up one on Triumph because, like I said at the beginning of the video, there are so many Triumph routines out there. It's going to take a couple of videos to highlight all of my favorites. But let me know now. This is over to you. What do you think? Do you perform any of the routines that I highlighted? If you did, let me know in the comments. Are there particular ones that you prefer? Or is there a Triumph routine that you think I might not know about? Please let me know. I'd love to look it up. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you would like to see more videos like this, do me a favor, leave a comment down below. I read all of the comments and I absolutely love doing so. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, very, very important. And I'll be back again tomorrow. It's going to be Friday tomorrow, so I'm going to be back at 2 o'clock with a short, 6 o'clock with a Magic Live, and 9 o'clock with a Magic Rant. I'll see you then. Thanks very much for watching. My name's Craig from Magic TV.